In this video, I want to give you 5 simple tips for shooting better videos. We all know that sometimes our videos don't look as good as they could. And the fact is, with just a few simple changes, your videos can look better than ever before. So let's get started. Tip number 1, handheld is never ideal. Here's a few examples. Let's start off with the first video, just shooting this train going by. Completely handheld, no stabilization, and as you can see, as I'm following the train and panning the camera, the video's all over the place. This really is not ideal, and frankly, no one wants to watch video like this. So we're gonna shoot this 2 more times, and we're gonna make just a couple of very subtle changes, and you'll see a huge improvement in the video. In the second video, as you can see, we're doing the same basic thing. We're panning along, following the train as it comes into the station. But notice how much steadier the shot is. I'm not using a tripod. I'm just taking care to hold the camera at a very nice, steady position so that the whole shot is very smooth. It takes a little bit of effort, and you do have to think about this while you're shooting it. But if you do that, if you just think about how you're holding the camera, whether it's a traditional video camera, an iPad, an iPhone, or anything else, you'll get a much cleaner pan. Now on this last example, we're not moving the camera at all. There's nothing wrong with holding the camera in a single locked position and letting the subject come to you. This is what you're going to see in most movies. If you just leave the camera in one place and let the action happen in front of you, I think you'll find that a lot of your shots look a lot better than you ever thought they could. Now, let's move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is do not zoom. You'll never see zooming in professional movies unless it's a very, very sophisticated technique. The cameras that have zoom on them never look good while you're shooting. So zooming while shooting just never works. And even if you're working with a camera like the iPad that doesn't have any zoom, you might be tempted to take that camera and just move in and out of your scene. Don't do it. Here's a couple of examples of zooming with the camera and simply zooming by taking different shots and stacking them together at the end. So here's the first example. Here we are shooting some video of this lovely flower collection. And I zoom in to get a close-up of this detail on the pot, but the camera doesn't really focus. And then I go in for the flowers. Hold on, wait, they're not focused. Hold on, I'm gonna tap the screen and get it into focus. Yeah, there it goes, now it's in focus. See how awful that was? It's just a horrible experience. Nobody wants to watch that. But now let's shoot the same thing, 3 different shots, all put together in editing so that it looks much better. So, we're showing the entire scene. Then we go in for a close-up, a detail on the pot that we really want to take a look at. And then a third shot of the flowers. We don't have to watch the camera focus in and out. The focusing was done before we started shooting. And then you put those shots together in editing. So again, don't zoom your camera in and out. Don't move the camera around. Just hold the camera steady, get the shot that you want. And if you want to get closer, stop rolling, get in close, and start shooting again. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, shoot many short videos. Not just really one really long one. Because when you shoot one long video, it's really hard to edit. So imagine you're standing somewhere, you've got all these things around you, and you go, ooh, look, that's pretty, and that's cool, and that's cool, and that's neat too. And suddenly you have one long video that no one can watch, and it's really hard to edit from. So instead, shoot a series of simple short shots. Don't shoot one long video, shoot a short video of this, and a short video of that, and a short video of that. And then you can also move around if you need to get a better angle. So here's a couple of examples. You see we have this video where we're pointing at some museum and then panning the camera to look at this restaurant on the river, and then there's some buildings on the hill, and then we turn again to get this church, but the sun's coming right at the camera, so really this is just awful. And as you can see, it's a horrible video, no one wants to watch it, and you sure don't want to have to edit that. So let's do the same thing, getting all the same shots of the same buildings, but shooting them one at a time, and of course moving so we get better angles, better shots of each item. So here first we have the museum. It's a pretty big object, so we may need to pan along a little bit. That's no problem. Here, a nice lock shot of the restaurant on the river, the buildings on the hill, and then the close-up of the church. Now this is backlit, so it's kind of hard to shoot, but remember, you can always move around. Get to the other side of the church where the sun is actually shining on it, and get a really nice, pretty angle of that. Now, as you can see by having all those different shots put together in editing, instead of relying on one single move of the camera, you're gonna have much, much better results. Next is to get close, not far. It's really easy to just stand back and get a shot and you're like, yeah, I'm shooting that one little thing there, but where is it? It's in a sea of nothing. Get close to your item. This is a perfectly nice shot, but if it's a shot of that restaurant on the river, we could probably get a little bit closer. And look, there's a bridge. Let's go ahead and move up to that bridge and get another shot. Hey, that's better. We got a lot closer here. So now we have a nice close-up of that object, of this restaurant that's in the middle of the river. That's cool, but you know what? We could get even closer. Let's go into the restaurant and shoot some really nice detailed close-ups. You don't have to shoot the whole thing in one shot. Get up close, shoot some details. If you're inside of it, pan the camera around. Shoot from different angles. Don't show the whole thing at once. Don't give the whole story away at the beginning. Show little bits and pieces of it and build up to it. It can be a much more interesting way to shoot and makes much more interesting videos to watch. Next up, shoot heads and tails. Now, what does that mean? Heads and tails means a little bit of video before the main action and a little bit afterwards. If you start recording, if you push that record button the moment that your subject starts to talk, and then you stop the record button the moment they stop talking, you don't have any heads and tails. You don't have any room to edit or to cut around. If you watch any kind of a making of movie or behind the scenes, you'll always see the director yells action, then there's a couple seconds of pause, and then the actors will start doing their thing. And then when the actors are done, there will be a couple more seconds pause, and then the director will yell cut. Now look, I'm not telling you to start yelling action at cut at your friends and family. But if you just think about it a little bit and start recording before the moment, let it roll for a little bit and then watch the action happen. And then when it's done, don't hit stop immediately. Just wait a beat, wait a second or two, and then hit stop. You'll see the editing is much, much easier to do. So here's a couple examples. Here's what happens first if you don't put in enough heads and tails. If you don't shoot with heads and tails, then it can be quite difficult to get a good edit. As you can see, that was really hard to edit. In fact, there was no room to edit, so we cut off words in there, it's kind of interrupted, it's just not clean. Now here's another example, same type of video, shot with heads and tails, giving us room to actually edit. However, if you do shoot with heads and tails, then it's actually quite easy to get a clean edit and clean transitions. So as you can see, you now have room to edit the video. Having the heads and tails allows you to do dissolves between, any kind of a fade or transition between the shots. If you don't have that heads and tails, you can't cut transitions. All of your cuts have to be sharp cuts, and if there's no spacing between it, your video is probably gonna feel really rushed and no one's really gonna wanna watch it. So you gotta make sure that you have that space and time before and after your videos, heads and tails. So quick little summary. 5 simple tips for shooting better video. Number 1, keep it steady. No matter how you do it, whether you're hand holding it and just being aware of what you're doing or setting it on a table or even on a tripod, keep that camera steady. Number 2, don't zoom. If you want to get closer, stop rolling, move closer and shoot again. But don't move the camera and zoom the camera while you're actually shooting. Number 3, shoot short videos. Having one long video is a pain to edit and no one wants to watch it. Shoot a series of short videos, edit them together in the software, and it's going to be a much better movie watching experience. Number 4, closer is better. Get close, get even closer, then get even closer still. It's great to get close-up details of shots. It's nice to have an establishing shot, but don't forget to get close. People want to see the details. Get in there and show them to them. And finally, number 5, shoot heads and tails. Make sure that you have the space, you have the breathing room to edit around the shots that you're getting. Now, 5 on this list looks kind of silly, so let's go ahead and make it 6. Our 6th tip is simply to tell a story. Don't forget, movie making is all about telling a story. If you're showing a video of your family vacation, don't just shoot the family on vacation. Shoot some video of getting ready for the vacation. Getting there, getting on the plane or the train or the drive. Tell the story of getting there. Tell the story of being there. And then tell the story of wrapping up and heading home. Every story has a beginning, and a middle, and an end. Don't forget to do all that when you're shooting your videos, and you'll find your movie editing experience is much, much better. So with these 5, actually 6 simple tips, I think you'll find that your movie creating experience is off to a much better start. I hope you enjoy it. Now, let's go on and edit some videos with iMovie for the iPad.